My name's David Beckett, and I'm the owner of Bent Motorsports. This is our 1985 CJ7. I've built countless cars over the years for other people, and I just wanted to do one for myself this time. So when I decided I wanted to make a car for the King of the Hammers, and it was going to be just for Bent, I wanted it to be something that was almost spectacular, unique, one of a kind, maybe a little different than what anybody else would want to build. Again, building cars for people over the years, I've been able to give my input, but ultimately it's up to the customer and what they want. Well, this time I was the customer, so this time I got to do what I want, which is right here. So we decided to use a CJ because I've never had one before and they're awesome. So we went with the Renegade decals and the Renegade look. I wanted it to look like something that was straight out of 1985. I just wanted it to look badass, just kind of a throwback. So that meant chrome grills, chrome hinges, chrome mirrors, chrome radio antenna, all things that a race car has absolutely no business having on it. But if this is the CJ7 I wanted in 1985 that I'm getting to build right now in 2023, then I'm going to make it like it's 1985. So that's how I would have built it then, so that's how I'm building it now. So when we were building it, I knew we were going to get a lot of purists who were going to be mad at us for building a car maybe to this extent and then going out and thrashing it. And we did. We got a lot of people saying it was way too nice to race. Yeah, it was too nice to race. And I don't know, when I think about it, I think what a great way to honor the CJ7, right? This is the way it would have looked in 85, and in 85, guys would have went out and wheeled the shit out of it. So go for it. It's a Jeep. We knew it was going to ruffle some feathers, but we definitely like pushing the envelope here at Bent Motorsports, so that's okay.
Perfect.
So to bring the 80s vibe, I even bought a 1980s boombox that I had on my shoulder during tech so that we could listen to some classic 80s music. So the color we chose was a factory OEM color for 1985 for the Renegade, and it's a dark metallic honey. There's tons of metallic in it, so really, really pops in the sun. We even got the OEM Renegade decals for the Jeep, so it matched the paint and everything else for the year. All the way up to the Renegade on the hood and the stripes on top of the hood. So let's jump into the interior and see what's going on inside. The seats are PRP. We got to go to the factory and pick out how we wanted them made. You can do that online, which is super cool. But they gave us the harnesses, the seats, the window nets. All of that is PRP. We even have our logo embroidered into the seat, which is super nice. The steering wheel is also PRP. This is the shred fast version. Also on the seats, they're the extra wides because I'm not, tiny. We chose for the fabric on the seats this ostrich texture, and we liked it so much that when PRP wasn't looking, we stole a bunch of it and did our dash, which is super nice now. So on the dash, it's a little bit of a different dash than a normal race dash. We have more stuff on here than we would normally put because we did know that we were going to be driving this out on the street. It's registered, it's insured, it's titled. So we do have some extra gauges. We have a speedometer, we have a tach, we have all your standard oil pressure, water temperature. We have dummy lights that come on. We have some of the race features that are in it. We have the Lawrence GPS system, the HDS, which is really, really nice. I think it's the Baja edition. We got set up with PCI. We have the intercoms for PCI. We have the race radio. We chose the ICOM for this build, so our radio is an ICOM. We have headsets for when we're pre-running. All the other stuff is pretty standard. It's all quick car disconnect and ignition. I geek out when it comes to wiring, so I got to wire this whole vehicle front to back. So the whole dash is modular, a couple of plugs, and the whole dash comes out. The same thing with the engine. On the engine bay, there's a big Cannon plug. If you want to pull the engine, it's one twist, and then all the wiring disconnects from the engine. You can pull the engine out as a unit. Just little things like that that I really like to note is clean and perfect. So I know that everything behind there is, not going to come apart or be a problem during a race. It's very, very solid on the wiring side. We use the Switch Pros. We've been using Switch Pros on builds for years. This Switch Pro has a little different. We've got turn signals built into it because, again, we're going to street this car. But then right underneath it, under the dash, you can see it says fuel, radio, and ECU. So the Switch Pro is solid state. So there's no fuses and no relays for everything the Switch Pro controls. I set it up so that we don't have any fuses, but we have 3 small circuit breakers, one for the ECU, one for the radio system, and one for our fuel pump. So those are under the dash and they're resettable just by touching them with your hand. So you're never looking for a fuse or trying to figure out where something went wrong. It's all in one place and it's very, very, very simple. We're running the Nitto trail grapplers. We're limited to a 35 in the 4600 class. These are 35, 12.5, 17s. We're also running the Methods. These are the 105 V3 bead locks, and they're gold because, it's badass. We're actually sitting on JK axles, front and rear, with Revolution gears and axles. As you know, JKs are 4-link, and the CJ is leaf sprung. So we had to strip the axles down. They're Dana 44s, front and rear, and we had to convert them to a leaf spring setup. The leaf springs are nothing special right now. They're just an off-the-shelf YJ Skyjacker. We're running the factory Eaton E-lockers front and rear that would have come in the Rubicon JK. We also have the Rare Parts dual load carrying ball joints installed. We're running Fox shocks on all 4 corners, and they've been tuned by our friends up at Wheel Every Weekend. They've actually been tuned a few times as we've progressed through the Jeep. The brake lines we use are Crown Performance, and they basically custom make these for us to the length we need. And they also made it in this fancy orange bronze color to match our Jeep. We put Baja Designs lights everywhere we could fit one on this Jeep. And man, did these LP6s look cool as headlights. We have the WFO Concepts front leaf spring hanger. We also have the WFO axle wrap bar in the back, which really helps because we're a spring over setup. Up front, we have the Warn VR Evo 10S. Jump into the back, we've got a fuel safe fuel system. In the back, there's not really too much exciting going on. However, our spare is being held down by this really cool speed strap. And we do have the super fancy factory CJ7 and AMC Jeep logos just to keep it era correct. So another cool thing about this race car is that it's a street legal race car, registered, titled, and insured. We could drive it to the race if we want. As far as the drivetrain goes, we have fully custom built drive shafts from Oceanside Driveline. We also have a behemoth transfer case, which is probably the best transfer case I've ever seen or used. It's a piece of art. It's for sure very, very nice. And without saying too much, for sure probably costs more than me buying the entire Jeep CJ7. Worth every penny. We decided to do copper nickel lines everywhere that there could be a rubber line, not because it's necessarily better, but because it just looks bitchin'. And I like things to look good. The engine's the factory 4.2 inline 6, and the transmission is a T18 out of a Ford pickup of the era. Overall, this build exceeded my expectations. In the end, I'm blown away at how many people thought that this was a really, really cool build, and it makes me feel really good that we were able to make something that everybody really likes. And the fact that all of the people who helped us, the manufacturers and the sponsors to help us build this, we're excited about it as well. It just makes me feel really, really good. It's a super bitchin' build, and it's super fun to drive. And I'm blown away of how much everybody's been helping us out. This Jeep represents what Bent Motorsports is capable of doing. This Jeep is Bent Motorsports. We're glad that you guys are stoked on it. If you want to find more info about the Bent Renegade CJ7, you can find videos right here on our YouTube channel as well as our Instagram.